serve as community resource representative for you guys' neighborhood. I work under the community development department, but we have a division that specifically serves the neighborhood association. So in the absence of your president, Todd Russell, I will be assisting Ms. Barnett with facilitating you guys' meetings. So I'm going to officially call your meeting to order at 6:04. 6:04. And so you have an agenda. Does everybody have a copy of the agenda?
No.
You do? Can I get somebody to make a motion to approve the agenda as it's written, and we will follow its format?
So moved.
Who was that? Don?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Right. So it's been moved and properly second that we will adopt the agenda as it is written. So if you all notice, there is a message from the President Todd Russell. We do have one political candidate that's in the room. He has been informed to speak after this meeting ends, okay? So we're gonna move our agenda along. I don't see anybody here from the police department. I represent the Community Resource Services Division as CRR. I'm your representative. So I did pass out 3 flyers. I want to talk about the first flyer, the Critical Repair Program. This is through the Community Development Department with the City of Birmingham. And it's beginning September 4th and September 5th. We have 2 opportunities for folks who want to sign up to have some home improvements done to their home. If you know someone who you may think could benefit for this, or if you want to share this with your local church groups, please do so. It talks about who's eligible, who's not eligible. We'll also have an information session taking place later on in August. So if you scan the QR code, it'll give you some additional information. It'll take you to our community development page where we have a landing page that talks more specifically about the Critical Home Repair Program. And so I will say that this year we're doing a lottery, and so we're only doing about 100 homes. So if you know someone who wants to see about having some type of heating, ventilation, air conditioning replaced, flooring, roofing, plumbing, things like that, we are in the business of, well, we contract out of the contractors to provide that service for someone who could possibly benefit for this. Now, there are income guidelines, and so every individual that's in the home, we would need to see their income. They would also have to be the actual owner of the home in order to have a service performed, okay? So that's our Critical Home Repair Program. This one right here, the Birmingham Building Birmingham Expo. It's by the Land Bank. How many of you all have ever heard of Birmingham Land Bank? Good. So this expo, we're gonna have all types of people in one room. It's a one-stop shop where we can gather information about building, lending, and restoring homes through the land bank. So this is an excellent opportunity. This one is actually happening tomorrow. So I know it's kind of short notice, but this is happening tomorrow. If you're able to attend, please attend. Again, there'll be lenders in the room, there'll be realtors in the room, there'll be brokers in the room, builders in the room, general contractors in the room. And so if you have any questions as it relates, and we'll also have some properties available through the land bank if you're interested in purchasing one of those properties. And they'll also talk about the different programs that they'll have as it relates to land banks if you're interested in acquiring a land bank property. Now, I did do some research. I will be honest, there are no land bank properties in your neighborhood. But however, if you're interested in looking in any other neighborhoods that we do have properties in, then this would be the expo for you. And then, did I give you all this one? Yes, the Smithfield Public Art Walk. So the Smithfield Public Art Walk is it's in Smithfield. Of course, it's not in your neighborhood, but it's a massive event that's getting ready to take place in Smithfield. Smithfield is getting an overhaul. It's a historic neighborhood, and they've placed together a team of creatives who have started different projects, different creative projects to restore Smithfield. And I will say that Smithfield does have land bank properties. And so if you're interested in having a stake in Smithfield, then I would suggest you at least go along the Smithfield public art walk trail, excuse me. We have artists from New York who's gone through the community and taken these photographs of the community, and they'll be on large display. They'll have a stage with performers. They'll have interactive stations, immersive art experiences, and more. It's free. They'll have food trucks. They have giveaways and more. So if you are available to just kind of peruse down, this is happening this Saturday. I encourage you to do so. It's going to be from 10 until 4. And so those were the handouts that I gave you, and it has additional information on it as well. So, Indy, you actually came right in on time. That was my report.
Alright.
Yes.
I don't remember that we made a motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting.
I do apologize. We moved straight on into that. So, do you all have copies of the minutes? Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes as they are written?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Oh, got two. Did you get that?
Yeah.
All right, all in favor, let it be known by aye if you approve of the minutes as they are written.
Aye.
Opposers have the same right. It's been moved and properly second that we accept the minutes as they are written. Thank you for that correction, Ms. Martin. Okay, now guys, we're gonna move right along with our agenda, and we have Ms. India in the room. Yeah, it's your turn. Provide us with any update.
Hey.
Hey guys, for those of you who do not know me, India Bailey, Chief of Staff for Counselor Hunter Williams. I'll just jump right into it. Haygood Street, the drainage ditch project. It has been long awaited. I've been talking about it for probably 4 months. And finally, because the rain has slowed down a good bit, it is about to start. I know that they've set out the cones and all of that stuff. And I've had some requests from some folks in the neighborhood for a timeline, and also the transportation departments, like rerouting and how that's going to work for you guys. Capital Projects usually does not give us that type of information, even though we're funding the project. However, we made the request for it, so hopefully I will have something that I can send to Marion and Todd before the next meeting, just so that you guys can know what's going on. But we're really excited about the project. For those of you who do not know about it, we are installing 800 feet of 18-inch piping all the way from Haygood to Dunston and some down to Kingsbury to kind of, but alleviate that standing water that's always been there. That's a project that we have been trying to get funding for since we've been in office, and we finally got funding for it thanks to the federal ARPA dollars, and it's finally underway, so we're really excited about that. Also, I mentioned heavy rains. May and June, as everybody in this room knows, were historically very heavy rain months, and because of that, the city has gotten very far behind, even further behind on their grass cutting schedule. And we did not want our neighborhoods to have maintenance issues, especially our green spaces. So we have gotten a private contractor to come in, and they will cut Crestline Park every 2 weeks. We don't want it overgrown. And anywhere else that's overgrown, if y'all see a lot of overgrowth somewhere, do not hesitate to call me. We're happy to send it up. Happy to try and get that nipped in the bud as quick as possible. Also wanted to touch on this last month, but I had a hard 7 o'clock start time. Unfortunately, I had to leave y'all. But the homeless encampment that was behind the Publix on Montclair, and also across the street in those woods, that's private property, that was an issue that, quite frankly, we were very, very pissed about. That doesn't need to be happening in any of our neighborhoods. Y'all don't need to be going to your Publix and nervous that somebody's gonna do something to you. There's a homeless encampment, there's trash everywhere, not cool. So what we did is Councilor Williams very publicly from the dais asked the mayor to get that cleaned up ASAP. We got it cleaned up that day. If you guys see that happening again, which I anticipate it probably will, because we have gotten that private lot cleaned up across from Publix 3 times in the past 3 or 4 years. But if y'all see that happening again, do give me a call. You don't have to wait till you see me at the meeting if you need something. My number is, if y'all are ready for it, and I'll say it a few times, and it's my direct line, it's 205-254-2348. It's 205-254-2348. If you don't get me, leave me a message. I will call you back within 24 hours. That's all I've got. What y'all got for me tonight?
I wanna say I appreciate y'all going above and beyond and getting the private company to go in and
No
cut the
problem,
grass in
Todd.
the park.
We know that grass cutting thing's
My dog
Nightmare
was
this summer.
in there.
yeah. We're
But thank
happy
y'all.
happy to do that. Happy to do that. Wish we could do it for all of our neighborhoods, but happy to do it. Anybody else? That might be a first, y'all.
Good night.
All right, guys. It was good to see everybody. Do give me a call though if something comes up between now and the next meeting.
Did you sign the summons? You did not.
Okay, thank you, India, for those updates. Councilor Hunter Williams' office. So now we're gonna move right into our new business. Do we have any new business? No? Yes, ma'am.
Does anybody have an update on the church acquisition?
Is that part of y'all's old business?
Yeah. I don't
New,
know.
old.
Okay.
It encompasses it all.
So it's an old.
Okay, we about to get to that.
Okay.
then. Anything new, guys? No? Alright. Showtime. Old business.
Does anybody have an update on the church acquisition
Of the parking lot property?
of the,
Church
church
property.
property?
Oh, the church property.
No, I haven't
Okay.
heard of anything.
Church property update.
Have you heard anything?
Last I heard, they were moving forward and they were going to talk to the city about drainage plans, and I haven't talked to them to find out where they are in that process, if the city just did an admin approval of that, but the sale of the property was moved to the end of this month, and that's kinda all I know. It seemed like everything was going fine.
Yeah, 'cause I was a little curious why they delayed the closing a month. So,
I think it was because of not knowing what was going to happen, and so they just thought they would delay it a month. Or I think Todd maybe told, I don't know, somebody
They
asked.
had to
me
get
that.
a variance from us, and then they had to go, work on their drainage plans and do all
Oh, yeah.
that in attempts to see if they were gonna need a second variance. I think the timing, and then also, I think there was some fret from communication from Todd, just about not being, wanting to push it, delay it,
yeah.
so.
So you're just unclear if,
Yeah, I guess there's no new update, I think is the answer.
okay. Okay. Any,
Before you adjourn, be sure to let them have that opportunity of talking about that proposal.
okay, so this is part of your old business. So I'm just gonna read the statement as it's written on the agenda. We can continue our discussions about the proposal for a new Crestline zoning and land use committee. For your convenience, the proposal document has been added directly after this agenda. The minutes of our last meeting will appear after the zoning proposal document. Do you all have that document?
Yeah,
Have
it
you
went
read
out
over it?
Sunday to everybody.
There was some handouts up there.
Yeah, I've got some handouts over there.
Cause I left mine
As well.
at home.
The last time we met, we talked about talking about it this time, so
Right.
we could vote on it next month.
Exactly.
And I don't see anybody from the zoning committee here or Todd, so I wonder if maybe we could move the discussion to next month, and then we could vote on it the next month.
Why can't we vote on it tonight?
Cause we said we were gonna have a
Right.
discussion this month, and then that's what we voted on.
Well, we actually did an official request to have the vote next month.
Uh-huh. And talk
In the
about it this
last meeting.
month.
I request that we
All right, well,
not vote at all.
Yeah,
Not
that's-
I wouldn't mind voting on it.
I don't think we should do it.
Well, I could share, and I hate that Todd nor Josh is here, but,
Well, first of all, I don't think we should do it. Have this written, because if it's written, you put it in place, it's gonna be held against you versus if it's not written.
But remember what Todd said last week. He can do this whether we want to or not.
I understand that.
He's trying to
can do it,
appease
but if
us
he
with
wants our
this.
input, I don't think it should be part of our minutes or.
I don't think he
anything else.
wants our input.
Yeah, it's just, to me, you're asking for trouble. That's
well,
all it is.
I will share that after our meeting, I spoke with some residents of Highland Park and Forest Park. And,
Amy, can you?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We have a mic. Do you mind speaking in the mic? Give it to me.
after the meeting, I, talked to some residents of Forest Park and Highland Park, and, so what I understand is that Highland Park kind of turned into a HOA nightmare at the, hands of Morris Newman, who Todd was brought on to be an advisor to this committee, that it got so specific that even paint colors would have to get approved. And so one resident said, they moved to Forest Park to get away from all that. Forest Park does not have this. Forest Park is probably the most similar community, to Highland Park, and they have opted not to do it just because of what they've seen Highland Park become. Highland Park is unique because it is historical in nature and has so many mixed uses. And so you can definitely see the need for why they would wanna maybe have a little bit more micro control. But what I understand is that it's turned into, we all live where we live because we don't want an HOA. Crestline neighborhoods, Mount Brook neighborhoods, Homewood neighborhoods don't have any type of, localized HOA type governance. I think that we should trust our city officials, if there's a zoning issue that comes up, your immediate neighbors are notified, they have, a very laid out process to protest this, to go to the BZA or, write letters or come before the neighborhood association, and this is just gonna give another layer of control and micromanagement, and I think it's gonna turn this neighborhood into an HOA, I think it's gonna cause people to be pitted against each other, and from what I understand, it became a real nightmare in Highland Park.
How, from what I understood, it was just like, they look at a proposal and then say, hey, this is what they're proposing, we looked into it, we suggest y'all vote this way. How does that translate to?
Well, it'd be, we recommend you don't vote in favor of this person putting a shed in their backyard, or changing the fence like from 4 to 6, or adding on, there's a process already in the city of Birmingham to do all this, that doesn't need another
Okay,
layer.
I didn't know that
Yeah.
we would go to them to
Yeah.
come to us.
Anything that would,
I was thinking it was for things like church, the trail,
yeah, it,
not like.
yeah,
I know.
it's written so vague, it'll be everything. It'll be anything, Todd's not here, so I can't speak for him, but the way, it's written so vague that it could literally be anything. I do think the intent is, if it has to go before the board of zoning, approval, you have to get to that point, which is fence, add shed, adding the porch on the back of your house, any of that, you would have to go in front of that committee. And so as it stands, the president would handpick those people And I don't know if you're aware, but right now there is, the city has halted all neighborhood elections. So we have a president, hopefully he stays on, otherwise she'll be running all our meetings. So if we disagree with the people he picks, if we disagree with the level of micromanagement, it's his until, I mean, there's no guess, I mean, it could go, this is a federal lawsuit, I think, it
Yes.
could go on for years.
We're talking about the thing that was proposed the last meeting that got put off for 2 months, is that correct?
Correct.
I'm really in favor of having it because I live on the creek. And we got railroaded about this trail. The person that was standing up there proposing it is a very honest man.
Josh.
He doesn't want to do anything underhanded or anything like that, but he feels, and I trust what he says, because he is the only one who's really willing to even bring up and fight for us under the trail. But he feels like it's just, his view is that it's just another layer of protection for us, not micromanagement, but protection, so that we won't get railroaded. So that most people won't tell us something's wonderful and it really has some kind of black thing going on that we don't know about. Just have a committee that can look into it more in depth and come back and give us a recommendation from somebody who lives in the neighborhood, so that we don't get railroaded, blindsided, or anything like that, because as far as the trail goes, we didn't even know we were getting the trail. It was voted on maybe. My mother's been dead 7 years, it was before her death, and then all of a sudden they're having a trail, and people taking half of our backyard, and all this kind of thing. We didn't really have any say-so, but I have an email that I sent to our lovely councilman a year ago that asked me if we could stop the project, and he to this day has not even responded at all, and that's what he does, so I don't trust, if you talk to Hunter Williams, come tell
Yes.
us anything. We're
Can,
grateful.
can I, so, I don't know if Josh is gonna be here, but that issue actually would not have come before the neighborhood association. And if you'll notice, Hunter he did not legally have to. Hunter never came before, I mean, it does not make it right. It makes it very wrong to me personally, for our city councilman to have done this. So he would never have had to come before us and have a vote, because this was an easement, it was approved, I think, 10 years ago. I mean, there's so many layers of, maybe mismanagement, but the legal right to do this. That issue never had to come before the neighborhood association. It never had to go before the BZA. So when Todd said last month, oh yeah, this would have stopped the trail, that is that is not the truth. Now, what this is anything that gets submitted for zoning to the city, this committee would be alerted to that.
There were zoning issues about the trail that were, we got notices, but that,
Yeah, and I certainly don't know the specifics, but that trail,
do you work with city government, do you work with money?
no. So, I'm just saying from the neighborhood standpoint, and what the research I've done since that meeting, I don't know, did you wanna add on to that?
So I was just gonna add on that this committee would look at, wouldn't have anything to do with the trail, because the trail was, Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, it didn't require a zoning change, or any kind of variance from the neighborhood to vote on. So that's why it would have never come up before this committee. That is what,
There were several times that we got.
I'm sure you received notice, because it's like a building notice or something, but it wasn't
It
anything
was on.
that we got to approve. That just, I don't know why it's that rule, but it isn't. What this would do is anybody that requires a zoning change, and I'm not worried about a variance, I'm not sure of word permits, I don't know, I mean, it's just written so broadly that if you even want a word permit, perhaps this could come in front of this committee. I'm, like she said, I'm afraid it's gonna cause, neighborhood strife, people get mad at each other, we don't really want that. I will say that as far as I'm concerned about small groups, I said this last time, we brought, up a few meetings ago, a picture of, the timeline of what happened with Silverstein. And the many small groups that happened without, anybody's knowledge before the information is presented to the neighborhood association. And that's where it all went wrong. And I feel like if we're gonna learn from our past mistakes should be that everybody should receive the information at once, and everybody should be able to form their opinion and be able to express their opinion. There was a small group, I said very articulately at the last meeting, was that there was a small group meeting held on the property about the sale to St. Peter's. And from that small group meeting, Todd wanted to send out the following email. So if you have a small group and they do whatever, they form whatever their opinion is, this is the danger that they will give out, send out communication to the neighborhood, and they really haven't been paying attention. And then the neighbor, I won't read the whole thing, but I have it, but it was an email that was going out to the neighborhood that said who all was at the meeting, and that they had come over to the conclusion to basically stop the not have the vote on Thursday. This is the Monday before the vote we held for St. Peter's. To not have the vote, to delay the vote because there were all these problems of what Morris said were problems. My husband was at the meeting and said, there really aren't any of those problems. We are gonna have, the drainage is the problem, and that's how they're gonna get their variance. And he was the one that asked Todd, please don't send out this email, I don't agree with any of this, and Todd didn't do it. So I'm worried just because I've seen a small group, especially with Morris involved, and kind of railroading, pushing, of what the result of that can be. Did I say that well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think a good idea would be to form a task force, a subcommittee that work on, initiatives to like or whatever, to get involved in the church, something like that. And that can be a one-off, and this use change over at the church property across from Souls is really a once-in-a-generation thing. And so this has caused a lot of strife in the neighborhood. Hopefully this church gets built. I don't see us having the trails a once-in-a-generation thing. I just don't see, something else coming. Somebody could go buy 5 houses and want to go build condos. But again, they just come to the neighborhood association and we handle it. We hear it for the first time. It's not vetted, and a lot of people just read things that a neighborhood president or somebody that had a committee that's on Facebook, and they just go along. I mean, I did up until this past fall. So, and I think this neighborhood has reinvigorated itself. We're very active. We're very met new people, and I think the neighborhood looks a lot different from what Barbara and Marion were carrying for so long. And so I feel like I trust my neighbors to make right decisions instead of the subcommittee.
I think this, Josh is not wanting to have those secret meetings are different than what this is.
Not really.
I could send you the
What it
email.
is there's a committee that the president of handpicked, and no say so because we can't even open out. I mean, not saying we would, but there's no way to voice our disagreement because we have one president for probably 3 or 4 years. So that's issue 1. Issue number 2 is, do we need a committee to over here making independent decisions about the screen and porch I want to add on to the back of my house? No, my neighbors, my immediately joining neighbors will get a notice, and they should be the ones, not, somebody that lives, across from Euclid over in Mountain like Josh. I mean, he really shouldn't have an opinion about the shed I want to put in my backyard or the screen and porch. My immediate neighbors, and they will be notified through the proper zoning process. And that's what I worry, is that we have people who don't come to meetings, who, live in different parts of the neighborhood who are not impacted by the change that I decided to make in my
blunt to the,
You
No.
know, this is like,
I get one every so often. I got a real problem with it, because if,
You put it close to your mouth.
Close to your mouth.
right there.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, I'm technically challenged anyways. I got a real problem with it, is that this committee will be selected by Todd. There'll be yes man for Todd, he'll do exactly what he wants to do. He's already proved that he's not for the neighborhood, he's for himself. And I say that because we had a vote, I think it was 60-2, and he still opposed it. And I don't like that. I want somebody open, that will get it. That's why I'm just deadly opposed to having a committee that's gonna just do nothing but hide stuff. And the other problem you've got, sometimes the city forces you to say something about zoning or whatever. We asked, this goes back a few years, that to postpone the vote or anything until January, because we weren't meeting in December. We didn't meet on Christmas Day, and, so, but they wouldn't do it. Sometimes you just gotta make a decision there. So that's just my opinion. I'm sorry, I think we're getting ourselves just in deep trouble.
This gentleman has, I'll get the mic.
Now, hopefully can I talk loud enough for everybody to hear? For all the reasons that have already been stated, I am against this committee as well. And Todd stated he doesn't care about our opinion on this. It is up to him to form this committee. So if we can vote 30-0, I think Todd will still form the committee. That's how passionate he feels about him being wronged with the church and the property. As far as the trail goes, I think we have a deeper problem with that. I think if the city, which went through all the proper channels 10 years ago, give or take, they should have a limit on how long they can either do the project or it starts over again. Because I think, because the only reason why it started now is they're trying to use up all the COVID money, which is our money that was given out by the federal government before Trump could take it back. They decided to, look, this has been approved, we'll do the trail. That was 10 years ago it was approved. I think we should get the city, work on them to say, look, if you approve something, it needs to be done in a set period of time, within a year or two. If you can't find the funding, everything's void and we start over again. I think that would have stopped the trail, or at least had current residents involved in the trail process. So I don't think the city, by law, did anything wrong with the trail. It was just so long ago that most people probably don't even live there now and knew nothing about it. Or in your case, it was your mom who lived there. And that's the way I think we can treat that trail. It's a learning experience, unfortunately.
Well, I found out from Carol Butt, who is the head of the freshwater, land trust. She said that it was Hunter Williams and Hunter Williams alone who decided to go ahead with the trail.
Hunter Williams was,
Questioned her on that, and she said she thought that we should know that. So Hunter Williams by himself is the one who pushed this trail.
he could not have done it by himself. What was happened is this trail was approved. There was never any money that could be appropriated to build the trail. The city came to the mayor or whoever is in charge, said, Hunter, we're giving you X amount of money to spend as fast as you can. And he looked at all the projects laid out for our area that he could put money on, and that was by far the biggest project. And that, it wasn't Hunter alone. He may have said, we want to do this project, but it was already approved, just waiting on the funding. The funding came to his lap.
That was approved, but I don't think Carolyn Black would tell me that's not true.
Well, of course, Hunter was the one that said, yes, let's do it. There was no other big projects. They handed him hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he had to do something with it in our area. This just happened to be, quickly.
And never
This
came
just
back
happened to be it.
and provided an update to the neighborhood.
Right.
Just did.
So I think we need to change the way the city of Birmingham deals with these issues. And like I said, put time limits on it so it doesn't all of a sudden, because really when people found out that they were starting it, it was already too late.
Yeah.
And that really has nothing to do with the committee
Yeah, 'cause
that
I'm-
Todd
I'm
wants to
very
form.
against the trail, very against the trail, and the committee wouldn't do anything.
I think the trail would be great, but
You like the trail, I don't. We could agree to disagree.
but we don't need a freeway when we could have had a running path or something.
Yeah,
We don't need it at all, even to where the cows have.
Well, you know, it is the city of Birmingham's property, and they can do what they want to with their property.
But it doesn't impinge on somebody, some land that's
How does it-
owned by somebody.
they had to purchase their eminent domain,
They
something.
had to purchase something.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I want to keep us on task.
All right.
Anybody else?
Is there a place? I understand about the small groups, come up with an idea. But for the vote about the front yard parking, I didn't feel like I knew enough to make an educated vote. I came in here thinking I'll probably vote no just because I'm not ready to give them that. But then everybody voted yes, I'm like, well, I guess it doesn't matter, I'll vote yes for everyone. So I was thinking having someone giving, like that knows about it, could give an educated reasoning, just like, this is why you would want it, this is why you wouldn't. Is there a place for that, but I guess not in this committee.
But that's somebody giving their own
Yeah,
personal.
the way it came out in this email was, it was Todd's personal opinion of the way he felt about it, that it shouldn't happen, and here's why, X, Y, Z, and here are the problems about it. Which, when we went to the zoning board, and sat in the meeting, the zoning board went through all of the things that Morris said, Todd said every single one of them, and they actually addressed every single one by one and said no, turned them all down, because of none of them were actual real things. So one, I don't think Morris should be an advisor because he's shown that he has caused strife in another neighborhood. Two, everything he said was incorrect and led Todd down kind of this path that kind of made him look bad, honestly. And had Morris not done that, Todd wouldn't have said all those things. And all a small committee does is offer their opinion of the way you think somebody should vote. So it would be exactly like the meeting you walked in on and somebody had already voted, except worse, it would only be 4 people in a room, you wouldn't even get to hear all of the things. But with everybody hearing everything, if you've gone back, all of our meetings are recorded, I'm recording them right now, you can go back and look at,
I see it from the meeting,
Yeah,
I just
you
didn't,
can go
I
back.
still didn't know how to vote.
you can go back and look at all the meetings, listen to all the meetings, and email questions and all the things that, there was like a big discussion on Facebook about it, so
Yeah.
a small group.
But it just seemed like the people who were talking were just regular neighbors like me, and like, I don't think I know enough to give that.
Well, remember
We should
at the,
have- I mean, like, we should have, in that case, I think we probably should have had a question. and
Yeah,
answer.
just stood up and
And
said,
not have a question out.
and they didn't wanna have a question and answer because they
that
said-
was the problem.
Yeah.
At the vote,
Yeah.
they wouldn't allow anybody to
April
stand up
Marie
and
came up
talk.
to me and told me not to speak.
Well,
Yes,
and then,
April Marie,
Who's that?
Preserve Crestline Park.
She's trying to tell you not to speak.
She did tell me that.
And
Definitely
so in that case, Todd would have been the one
Right,
to
right.
give.
Well, this was a
person time.
special
He was
meeting
against it.
just
He
to
said
vote.
against it at the BZA.
The discussion was the meeting before.
so it was, yeah.
I think your point is well taken, that there should always be a place for question and answer.
Yes.
Because
A discussion.
they they stood up there and talked about more shrubs.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's not
Yeah.
efficient.
So guys, it sounds like, cause Ms. Barnett, she's transcribing, she cannot hear you guys,
Yeah.
you know, so it sounds like if you're.
Voices are going that way.
Exactly. But I want to add to this about committees. Anybody serving, it's my turn. Anybody serving on a committee in a neighborhood must live in your neighborhood.
That's
Right.
not a,
But
He's not serving, he's advising.
He's an advisor, and Todd said that he could be an advisor because he was special and had special skills that would help the committee.
and who's the professional that we're gonna be on, is gonna be on this?
I think was that not Morris?
Well, he's an advisor.
Okay.
So
But I
again, going
believe-
back to that statement, anybody that's serving on any committee must live in your neighborhood. Not have a rental property, not that's my mama's house. They have to have a home, they have to live there, they have to been living there at least 6 months. They have to have utilities in that home. So, you know, nobody can just roll up and say, hey, and I do think, this is my suggestion, if you're not fully understanding a process, then that's supposed to be an area in that meeting where that is explained to you where you get it. They should water it down as much as possible for everybody to understand so that they could make an informed decision. Because I hear you say, I just roll with the crowd. I don't know how that made you feel afterwards because you really don't even know what you had just done. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's the issue with that. This was a special meeting specifically just to vote. And I think that's the way Todd got around it. And April Marie. We were to go there. The church presented their plans again. A quarter of the way through, everything died. And that was it. We were there to vote. We weren't there to ask questions.
They told us not.
Right.
Who is they?
People that
Is
were
it
there
the?
had not been to the meeting. There were 60 people. We only had 30 who saw it. So they're only seeing stuff on Facebook or word of mouth. So
And I guess with this small committee, you know, that's the way Todd ran the meeting. So I don't want a committee where Todd can control how a committee, who's on the committee, and what information is given out from the committee, the information he gives to the committee, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like it's safer if we all hear the information at the same time. There's always a question and answer period. Everybody can always talk about it. And just like we did last time when somebody very thoughtfully and wisely said, hey, let's not vote on this, let's have 2 months to talk about it. You know, of course with variances we can't really do that,
we
but
were rushed.
we could have had another meeting, there could have been, you know,
There should have been a discussion.
Yeah.
correct. But we were told, do not speak because the meeting will run too long. That was the reason I was given, I could not speak.
I'm gonna move us
so
along because I see.
do we need to make a motion to not vote on this in the August meeting? Push this a month since Todd and Josh are not here.
If you like.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we not vote on this in the August meeting. That we leave the August meeting for discussion. And then if there is to be a vote, it would be the following month. But not to vote.
I'd second the motion.
I'd like to amend it.
Oh, you wanna amend it?
Yeah, I think we shouldn't vote to go on until next year.
Next year.
Yes. So we have plenty of time to look at it,
Okay.
basically discuss it, and all like that, so it's not forced down our throats.
Okay.
I second your motion to the motion.
Alright, you
So
got,
the motion now is to not vote on this until 2026, to allow proper time for vetting and discussion.
is that right?
That sounds good. I
Okay.
And we don't have a meeting in December, correct?
Normally we don't meet in November or December because of the holidays.
Well, then it probably, the
February.
earliest that you come up is February.
What,
So-
what is it that we're gonna vote on?
The committee, whether we want the committee.
And remember, Todd doesn't need our
I know,
vote.
so we'll be telling them.
Not on the trail, but on
No,
the
on
committee.
On the
Committee.
committee.
Yes, ma'am.
For good or bad, the
What is
tra-
the committee gonna do then?
The committee is gonna do what we've been talking about. They're gonna look at proposals and tell us how they think we should vote.
Well,
So,
All right, now wait a minute.
time everybody, us figure it out until.
There's a motion,
It's a
Right.
discussion, yeah. That's okay.
there's a okay, there's a motion not to vote on this committee until January of 2025.
February.
February.
2020 February, okay.
That will give us
That's why we
January to
vote.
discuss it again.
26.
August, September, October.
In the meantime, we're gonna have a discussion about it at our meetings.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. And now, did we make a motion, and who did what?
Don?
Don made the motion.
Made the motion.
Don,
He made that motion to, not,
and
Can
who
I
seconded
second
it?
Don's
And
motion?
then
It'll be my
Pat
first
seconded.
second.
Okay. All right, I've got it now. Thank you.
right, so we've had a motion, it's been seconded, and we've had some discussion. If all are in favor, let it be known by saying aye,
Aye.
and anybody that opposes has the same right to say aye.
No, I'm not.
So we got one opposer.
One.
Your ayes have it, your motion carries, that you do not vote on a zoning committee until 2026, February 2026, but you all are allowed to have discussion, okay? So now, for the sake of time, we are at 6:51, is there any other new business or old business or old discussions that we should bring up at this time? If not, I would like for someone to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting because we do have one guest. Second?
Don, okay.
I'm good at that.
I second.
Alright, and then all in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Alright, your meeting is now officially ended. So we do have one guest who is running for District 2 School Board,
Yes.
Mr. Anthony Jones.
Jones, yes.
So, Mr. Anthony Jones, at this time, you are allowed to come and address the group.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Anthony Jones, and I'm running for District 2.
Get the microphone, get the microphone.
Yes, sir.
There we
Yes,
go.
sir. Good afternoon. I'm Anthony Jones, and I'm running for District 2 School Board. That district consists of Putnam Middle, Eisenware Mitchell, and W.J. Christian. So I'm here tonight because Putnam, that school system actually sits and is in y'all district. So I wanted to come out and talk to you all about electing me for District 2. I am not an educator, but I'm an advocate for our students. So I want to be able to make a change on the school board. As I say every time I speak, I'm not making promises to no one. That is not my goal, to make promises to you that I know I can't keep. That's my number one goal. But I am here to help out the school board. The reason why I say I'm not making promises because there's 8 other board members that I have to get to consider what my constituents would like to see. So that's why I don't make promises, because I don't want you to say, hey, Mr. Jones, you promised me you'll do this for the school system. Well, I got 8 other board members and the superintendent to actually have to talk to. But I will promise you this, that I will work on trying to bring back the PTA for the schools. I think we're lacking in the PTA, and I think these kids need to see more of their parents in the school system. And I use the example of our daughter goes to Eisenware Mitchell, and they had she's in the band, and they had a band competition in Georgia. And me and my wife was the only parents on that bus besides the band teacher. And there were 28 kids on that bus, and only 2 parents. So I feel like the parents need to be more involved well as the school, but they need to see their parents involved. They need to see their grandparents involved. And these kids don't see them. So that's why a lot of times I think there's a contributing factor to what's going on outside of the school system. But I want to be able to bring back PTA. I want more parents involved. I want to see these kids go through school and not just get dropped off at school. That's my motto. I want to see them go through school. So I don't want to see parents just dropping their kids off at school. I want to see the parents go through school with them. There are some new ways of doing things in the school system. So I feel like if the parents don't understand it, then there should be an open door for the parents to come to the school and maybe get educated on the new way that the school system is actually working. So that's my little spew on why I feel like you should vote for me for District 2 school. Thank you. Any questions?
What three schools was it?
There's Putnam Middle, which is right down the street. Then you have Ozzie Ware Mitchell, which is in the East Lake area, and W.J. Christian, which is in Roebuck Springs.
So the school districts don't mirror the council districts?
Not always. They
Yeah. I think there's like, Hunter Williams is one of the city councils that I would have to work with. Then I have, if I'm not mistaken, J.T. Moore. So there's a couple of city councils I would have to work with along with the school board.
So I am convinced that parents are the whole key
Yes,
to school and
Yes.
kids.
and that's what
I've seen
willing
it
to do.
too many times, that schools, preschools and everything that get the parents involved have drastically higher scores with their kids going forward
Yes, sir.
than without.
I have an older daughter who's 21, and she went to school. She went to Glen Iris, and from there she went to Washington, which is on over in the western part of town. And then she had a high GPA of 3.5, and she ended up going to Rams and graduated. So, and I was involved in her schooling from the time kindergarten all the way up to high school. That's why I truly believe that parents need to be involved in their kids. And now she's going to be an esthetician. So she wants to do makeup, hair, and stuff like that. So I think the more your child sees you involved in their life, as well as their education, that they will learn something. We always say we want our kids to be better than us. Well, the way you do that is to go with them throughout school.
So what's your opinion on parents having the choice of the school that they want to send their kid to?
Well, right now, I think that is a great idea. I think you should have a choice. If you see a school that is failing, that you should be able to have a choice of where your kid go. Especially if you're involved in those kids' life and you want to see them better themselves. You should be able to have a choice.
I know that's bigger than the Birmingham School Board, but still.
Yeah. But I think that's across the United States. Any other questions? Well, I thank y'all for letting me speak. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, guys, well, she's passing out some
That's
flyers
a political speech.
for Mr. Jones.
What the hell?
And y'all have any questions, you need to connect with me. Again, I'm gonna just shout my city numbers out. My office number is 205-254-2423. And my city cell, where you can call or text, is 205-789-3989. Y'all have a great night. Be careful, stay dry, and stay hydrated.
Stay cool.
Stay cool, yeah.